Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse live stream here. We're going to be talking about the upcoming season. The projections for the upcoming seasons from Into the Knicks-Verse are done. And I'm satisfied. I'm very satisfied with where we ended up. It's going to be interesting. I'll go through it all. I'll go through month by month, just like I did last season. And then I'll give you the final total. But before I even get to that, I'll give you a rationale up front about why I ended up where I ended up. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the pregame show. I mean, the game that's coming up against Indiana. It's the rematch. And if any new news pops up while we are live, we will be popping it on. So far, the Knicks have been incredibly impressive in the preseason. They've been basically the type of team that the best that we could have hoped for has happened, except for, Grimes not being able to play for a couple of games, and he won't be playing tonight. And also Cam, obviously getting pulled in that first game because he tweaked his ankle. And then he finally got to start. He got to start game 2. And even though it was, you look at the stat line, wasn't so great, he still ended up at plus 15, plus minus. And, but a lot of it was just like, he really hadn't played much with Julius and Brunson at all. He'd played with RJ before, of course, in the past. Somewhat with Mitch, not too much. So it was a lot of new guys on the court with him, and probably missing some of that time, having to rest his foot hurt him in that respect. But tonight is a big game for him. In fact, tonight is probably the most important thing is, in terms of what happens on the court, is what happens to Cam. Can he prove himself? Can he do kind of like what Obi did last game? Obi just broke out, announced once again to the world with his East Bay dunk that he is, the dunk champion. And on top of that, he just played a sensational game. Shot 4 out of 7 from the three-point line. Couldn't have been happier. Couldn't have been happier with his performance. It's fantastic. Salute to the chat. Welcome, guys, for showing up here. We are going to run right up to game start time. And what's up, Dare House? Hola. And we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna go through the projections, not predictions for this team. And when I tell you the prediction, it's all based on like the majority of things going well correctly for the Knicks. Obviously, you can't predict major injuries. You can't predict, meltdowns like we had last season. You can't predict those, but they're slight indicators. We can't ignore things that happened last season. But when you compare this team to last season's team, it's dramatically better. It's dramatically improved. Now, so is the whole East. The Eastern Conference has improved dramatically. So will that be enough? They won 37 games last season. And in my opinion, they underachieved. They should have won more. And even when you look at basketballreference.com, they had them at 41 wins. Based upon the actual final stats and results, they should have won 41 games. So they underperformed by 4 games last season, according to that. I think they underperformed drastically by at least 10. Maybe. I mean, I had them getting to 50 plus. Even 53 was my best dream scenario. Now, of course, that was predicated on Kemba's knees holding up, not forcing him to kind of like rest his knees here and there, and then not be able to play back-to-backs, throwing the whole first unit out of whack. Evan Fournier not being able to figure out his groove early on because he was too worried about his defense, letting that detract from him. It was the worst starting unit, actually, in the beginning part of the season in the entire NBA. And yet the team still ended up with 37 wins. And that's despite Tom Thibodeau making the oddball decision of starting Alec Burks as point guard instead of reaching into his bench and picking Emmanuel Quickley, who should have been the starting point guard. And who knows what would be the deal right now. We don't know. I'm very happy with Brunson. Obviously, his efficiency he brings is just sensational. I mean, his little moves that he does, phenomenal. It's kind of like the way I imagined that the way I wanted to play when I was younger. I love that, the craftiness and just going up against bigs and not letting them block you. I love the way he creates space. The way he finishes is superb. He is superb, superb, superb. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. My name is George. I'm into the Knicks-Verse, and hit that thumbs up button for me when you get a chance. Shout out to the chat. What's up, Captain Matumbo? Dare House, what's up? Isaiah Hart going to be an inconsistent shooter? I don't think so. I think he'll smooth out. Taj made surprising lot of corners. Yes, he did. He did make the corner threes, and that was great. I expect Hartenstein will deliver in that area as well. Not that worried about that. One of the things I do want to look at is, let's jump right now. Let's go to, I found something from last season from a live show that I did on trade deadline day on February 10th. And let's head to that right now. All right, good. It's working. So this is the list that I composed for that show back on February 10th, 2022. What Knicks should do. The first item was move Kemba and add a point guard. Now, what they ended up doing was they dropped Kemba from the roster, the rotation completely. They did not add a point guard, though. That's what they ended up. Number 2 was trade Burks or Fournier. Instead of doing either of that, they put Burks in at point guard. And by they, I mean Thibs. The third item was add a young stretch 5. At the time, I was looking at like Mo Bamba, somebody like that. Even I believe Jalen Smith hadn't been traded yet. Just someone who can at least stretch the floor, give you some perimeter presence in terms of offense and not clog up the paint so much. That did not happen. The fourth one was hand RJ the keys. Now, are you guys noticing how interesting these are? And I'm going to get into like what ended up happening. Hand RJ the keys. That kind of almost happened. In fact, I would say from December 31st, 2021 through the end of the season, that kind of did happen. What he did was he took the keys. He took them. And there were definitely issues. There were definitely conflicts, I believe, with Randall, and I think that got precipitated. It instigated his meltdown even further, partially. So, and the last one was let the youth lead. Something that Thibs stubbornly did not do, and it ended up costing the Knicks many things. Number 1, the opportunity for us to see what the young guys could really do when they're playing against the other team's best players. And number 2, I think it cost us wins because the youth would have won more games than the team he was trotting out there and the way he was allotting the rotation minutes. You know, Randall was still in the mid-30s. Same with RJ. You know, Burks was starting. Fournier was averaging in the 30s. You know, so and even though Fournier's shot did come around, it impacted the chemistry on the floor in terms of, well, also that team lacked athleticism, and we needed to see what the youth could do, and it would have answered a lot of questions for us. Something that we didn't get answered. However, in those last 5, 6, 7 games of the season, Thibs finally did turn to the youth. Obi, IQ, started Obi, started IQ, I think just one game and stuff. And finally, we got some results. We saw what kind of young core we actually really have, which is a very exciting young core. So that did not happen and it cost. Now, when you go over it now, you look at it in terms of, all right, imagine this was a list I put out at the end of the season, last season, for the beginning of the offseason. Move Kemba, add a point guard. Okay, Brunson came. Trade Burks or Fournier. Well, Burks got traded. Okay, add a stretch 5. Ihart got added. Isaiah Hartenstein. Hand RJ the keys. They extended his contract. They gave him a big contract, and he's already taken more shots than anybody on the team. It seems like he is going to be, the offense is going to primarily feature him when Brunson doesn't find an easy way to get a quick bucket. The last one is let the youth lead. That's the big question. Will Thibs finally do this? I'll tell you, the past few weeks, about a week and a half, I've been hearing things from Thibs that are very encouraging. He's talking glowingly about Obi. He's always loved IQ, and he keeps talking glowingly about him. He's even thrown Deuce some love. Cam, he had some nice things to say, but obviously we know what the situation with Cam is. It seems like Thibs is finally opening up his eyes and realizing that his number one priority, being winning, actually can be satisfied by featuring the youth. And it does help that we've cleared the roster of Kemba, Burks, Nerlens, Taj, and added young players all along there, which will basically, I think we're ready. This is it. So this is an interesting list to look at. It's almost like they did everything here on this checklist here. And the last one is, finally, I got to see it in real game time during the regular season. We're obviously preseason, we're seeing it, but, who knows. So before we get to the next slide, let me check in with the chat here. What's up, guys? Good to see everybody. If you hit that thumbs up button for me, that'd be really appreciative. We got here. Let's see if anyone's... hey, what's up, Connor? Shout out to you, brother. Kep Giggles. Good to see you, Paul Butler. All right, man. D's World of Hoops. What's up, man? Let's see. Sounds like you want to go on full-on development. No. Not full-on development. Last year, I did want to develop our youth. I don't think you have to do one or the other. Especially when you've already done some really good drafting. And if you look at the guys we've drafted, they've all improved from one season to the next. And that is shout out to the draft department of the New York Knicks and to Leon Rose for picking the right guys. He's done a great job with that. The problem is he's had guys on the roster that are older and in the way. How can you expect young guys to just pop and take a position away from a vet if they don't get the floor time to prove it? So those are the things. And sometimes we would see last season, Obi would finally start cooking. He'd connect 2-3 buckets in a row. And then because of, Thibs is just, I don't know why, maybe to placate Randall or whatever, or because of his template coaching at the time, he would just pull Obi no matter what and put Randall in instead of riding Obi out until we see what happens. He didn't do that so much with IQ. And that's because I think he has a little more trust with IQ. And we were also point guard depleted. Rose was hurt, Kemba was out, and Burks was all we had. So he did embrace IQ. He gave him a lot of minutes. He actually played the most fourth quarter minutes, I believe, as any Knick last season. So you can do both. And in the past, we talked about this before with Keys in the last stream. Everyone knows all the issues I've had with Thibs. Everybody knows. I called for his firing. He's not fired. I'm embracing that he's here. Let's hope for the best with him. But one thing that can't be denied is great young players have become great while he was their coach. Not just good, but great. Jimmy Butler, Noah, Defensive Player of the Year, and of course we all know Derrick Rose. So he has that ability. Cat always was pretty good, but he I'm sure it impacted him. Wiggins, maybe the defensive intensity that Thibs drives into his players didn't really take hold right away, but it would lay the foundation. So when he went over to Golden State, there was something to work from, and he also had gifts that he never really fulfilled defensively until last season. Let's see, let's get into it. Here we go. Salute, Johnny Davis. What's up, brother? ESGT. What's up, George? Longtime follower. Love your breakdowns. Thanks for all your hard work. Oh, thanks, man. After seeing some preseason, what's your feelings on Julius Randle? Can he take a back seat or bye-bye? That's a great question. And you know what? I'll answer that question now because it kind of goes into the projections. I'm doing a projections video. I'm going to take you guys through the months. If you guys just joined, just to recap the beginning part of it, I'm going to give you guys a number of what I think the Knicks are going to end up at this season. If all goes right. Well, not all goes right, but if most of the things go right. One of them has to be Julius. If Julius can be the guy who plays 25 to 28 minutes a game and still distributes the ball the way he's been doing, because he still creates a lot of gravity when he's on the offense. When he's got the ball in his hands, doesn't mean he has to bring the ball up. But when the ball finally gets to him, if they get it to him in a good spot, and Brunson's really good at that, And then he had a nice two-man chemistry going with Fournier the second part of last season. If he can continue being the guy we've been seeing this preseason, and I have to also shout out his defensive intensity is way up. It's way up. And I'm really loving that. Is there a moment or two where he's kind of, I don't want to use the word dogging it, but where he's kind of gets lost in thought about what just happened and disappointment, and he kind of carries it with him across half court. I've seen a few plays like that, but nothing compared to the intensity that I've seen him, especially out on the perimeter. And now he is not dropping back when he's when they're double teaming guys. He is actually rising up and trying to jam shooters out on the perimeter, and that I'm loving because he also has the speed to recover, and at the same time, there's Mitch back there. So I'm really liking what I've seen from Julius so far. Can he keep this together? That's the big TBD. That's the big TBD. All right, let's, you know what? Shout out to the chat. Good to see you guys. Yeah, hit that thumbs up button for me. Let's see here. Here, we're going to go to, all right, this is some interesting stats that I pulled together to help set the table for why I'm predicting what I'm predicting for these Knicks. And it comes down to some key stats. This is last season's key stats on the left side of the screen here. The Knicks were 26th in points scored last season, and they were 6th in opponents' points scored. Big disparity. So the defense stepped up. A top 6 defense right there in terms of points allowed. The plus minus was a minus 0.1. That's 19th. So that's what has to rise. And what has to rise is they have to score more points. And with Brunson on this team, that is going to happen. But I'll keep going because I have a whole thing about that. The EFG, efficient field goal percentage, 51.3%, which is 26th in the NBA. So down at the bottom. Opponent field goal percentage, 52.1%, which is 8th lowest. So up there in the top 10. The true shooting percentage, and that's a key one because it involves free throws. The Knicks got to the free throw line, I believe, first or second most of any other team in the NBA. And if they can up their free throw percentage, that true shooting number is going to go up dramatically. And with a guy like Brunson, who's an 80% free throw shooter, and we got IQ, who was in the top 5, or actually he led the league for a long time last season. I think he finished 3rd or 4th. And hopefully we get RJ to up his free throw shooting, and he gets to the free throw line a lot. And all we need is Mitch. All we need is Mitch, man. Hey, Mitch, just hit 2 out of 3. 66% would be fantastic for you. But I believe that number's all these numbers are all going to improve. And here's the rationale. It's right there, right next to you guys. So you can see last season, all the possessions, the point guard possessions on the Knicks were majority. I'm not counting Deuce in this situation. Burks and Kemba, because they were the starters. When they were the starting point guard, the team's field goal percentage was a 51.2, which is 21st. 21st. So you can see it was a little better, right, than the 51 point. Wait, is that the opponent? No, not. That's it. That's them. Then that's their own. Then the opponent's field goal percentage was 55%, which is 26th percentile. These are percentile rankings like in cleaning the glass, where 100 is the best. You want to be in that 90, 80, 90 area right there. Even anything over 50 is good. 50 below is not good. Obviously, 20s is really bad. So with field goal percentage, opponent field goal percentage, and the points differential, the Knicks was in the bottom third of the entire NBA when Burks and Kemba were the point guard. When Quickly and Derrick Rose were the point guards, when they had their point guard minutes, immediately you can see the field goal percentage offensively didn't increase that much. It was a 26 percentile, 51.7. But defensively, the team is just different. Look at the opponent field goal percentage, a 50.1. That's a 93 percentile. That's in the top of the NBA. Points differential, a plus 6.4, guys. 84 percentile, plus 6.4 with IQ and Rose as point guards compared to the other guys, Burks and Kemba. That's dramatic. Now you look at the new guy. Jalen Brunson, this is his stats last season when he was the point guard. So Luka not as the point guard. This is all the possessions that he played. The team's field goal percentage was 53.1%, which was a 47 percentile, almost right in the middle. Still not that great, but right there in the middle, but dramatically better, 26% better than 26 percentile percentage points better than the Burks-Kemba pairing. Then the opponent field goal percentage, 51.5% when he was the point guard. That's a 79 percentile ranking. Points differential, plus 4.4. So what I'm saying is we are going to have a much more efficient, robust offense, and we may lose a little bit defensively, but really, how much more defensively are we going to lose from Brunson to the Burks-Kemba combination? Not much. Not much. So the team overall is going to be, all the stats on the left, those are all going to improve, especially the offensive stats. If the defense can stay where it was last season, and the offense can pick up an extra, if we can average an extra 4, let's just say 3 to 6 points, this could be a very interesting team. Very interesting team. All right, before I get to the next slide, shout out to the chat. It's great to see everybody here, man. I love it. Yeah, please hit that thumbs up button for me. Very much appreciate that. And let's see what we got here. Hey, what's happening, man? Silver Surfer's in the house. He wants to trade Randall. Yeah, I asked for that many times. Many times. Okay, so now we're going to go. We're going to go to the first month, or actually first 2 months. All right, so the Knicks in October. I predict the Knicks will go 4-2. We're going to beat Memphis right off the bat. We're going to beat Detroit. We're going to beat Orlando. And we're going to beat the, unfortunately, they lost LaMelo Ball for a while. We're going to beat Charlotte. We're going to go to Milwaukee. We'll drop that game against the Bucks. And then we have a game against Cleveland, the Cavs, with Donovan Mitchell. And I mean, the Cavs are looking good, are looking really good. And I believe that they're going to be so amped up to have us there, especially with all the history of, the duel of us trying to get Donovan Mitchell, and they ended up getting him and all that jazz. I think the Cavaliers are going to step up and win that game. So we're going to end up 4-2. 4-2 in October, which is a big departure from what I was thinking earlier. Before the preseason games and before I heard Thibs talking and actually kind of changing his tune, because he started out by saying things that I didn't really like hearing, especially focusing on Fournier as over, Grimes and all that jet. But he has definitely come around. You can see that he's changed his tune. So it makes me much more hopeful. In November, which is a very, very tough month for them, I believe that the Knicks can go 500 in November. That's right. So right there, Atlanta, they come into the Garden November 2nd. I think we're going to win that game. Then we go to Philadelphia. We'll drop that game. We got a game against Boston at the Garden. It's the first game against Boston in the Garden. The Celtics have historically started off slow past couple of seasons. And I just think that energy that the Knicks had last season, especially when RJ hit that big bucket that jump-started the Celtics run all the way to the finals, that was actually from Jason Tatum himself. He said that was the major motivator for that team. I still think at the Garden, the intensity and everything there, and RJ going to want to try and prove himself. Once again, I think we're going to pull that game off. Then we have Minnesota. We go to Minnesota. It's hard to judge with Gobert and Cat. It's hard to judge. I'm putting that down as a loss, but a lot of these depends on momentum, how the team starts playing here and there. But this is the way I'm going with it. Then we have Brooklyn. We come back and play there. Play in Brooklyn. We'll probably drop that game again because the Nets are going to want to just prove that they still got it. So we'll see. We'll see. Following that is. Okay, Detroit, and we're going to a little winning streak. Detroit, OKC, and Utah. Utah's trash. All of a sudden, we can pick up 3 nice wins right there, which is great because then we're going to go into a little 3-game losing streak because we're going to go to Denver, Golden State, and Phoenix. So I see those as all 3 losses. However, you never know with this team. They could pull out one out of those 3. That would be tremendous. But I'm just putting them as losses. Hey, what's up, Lex? Shout out to you, brother. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. CIA Mafia. What's up? Eddie Kerr. Quiet Money. What's up? James E. Moore. Salute. Shout out to you, man. Richard Vance. All right. We got, D Nice. What's up? Salute, brother. Then the Knicks are going to go to OKC, and OKC is, no Chet. So I believe the Knicks can definitely win that. And we'll come back to the Garden. The Trailblazers, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of team they're going to be. I am predicting in the beginning of the season, they're not going to have it figured out yet. So I'm putting it here as a Knicks win. Then we've got Memphis at the Garden. I think this is going to be a makeup. They're going to want to get revenge on us for winning the opening night game in Memphis. So they're going to come to the Garden and take that game from us. Detroit is another win for us. And then we play Milwaukee in Madison Square Garden on November 30th. And I'm putting that down as a loss. So the Knicks will finish the first 2 months of the season 12-8. 12-8. So the first, wow, that's 12-10. Sorry, 12-10. I knew I was wrong. 12-10. So it'll be 2 games above 500 by the end of November. I feel that's very, very possible. All right, here we go. This is now December and January. Key months. And I think if it doesn't go this way, Thibs will probably get fired. So that's a whole other discussion. But if it goes that way, if the Knicks get off to a 12-10 start, that means the team is gelling together. They're playing well. It means the youth is delivering on their end. It means that their first unit is gelling. So that is only going to get better. Thibodeau teams historically get better as the season goes along when it's working, when things are working in terms of the communication and the vibe. So here, December, Knicks go 9-6. And here, I'll just run it down. Dallas in MSG, December 3rd. That's going to be a huge game because it's Brunson's first time he's facing them. I just got a good feeling that he's going to want to step up, show up, and at the Garden, Knicks can pull that game out. And now we have a back-to-back, so that's a tricky one. But I have the Knicks getting a little revenge on Cleveland and winning that game at Madison Square Garden after dropping the game in Cleveland. Then Atlanta, the Hawks come in. It's a loss. Then Charlotte. We go to Charlotte, win that game. Kings come to the Garden. We win that game. Then we go to Chicago, the United Center, and the Knicks are going to win that game. That's going to be a big, big game. I could just see it. Now, it's a back-to-back. They played twice, not back-to-back, but they played the Bulls 2 times in a row in Chicago. Odd scheduling. December 14th and 16th is going to be odd, so I can see the Knicks splitting those 2 games. So I have that down. Then we travel to Indiana. Once again, that's a win for us. Then we come back home to MSG, and Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, the champions, come into town. December 20th just feels like Steph's going to put on a show. Getting ready for Christmas time, too. Right after that, we got Toronto. This is our first matchup against Toronto. Toronto's a very scary team. I'm very concerned about them. They have tremendous size all the way up and down the lineup. And, Fred VanVleet is just phenomenal, even though he's small, but he's a phenomenal player. I'm going to give that as a loss to the Knicks. Then the Bulls come back in, and this is the 3rd time we're facing them in just a matter of a week and a half. And they're coming to the Garden. I could see the Knicks destroying the Bulls then, especially coming off that Toronto and Golden State losses. And which is good because that 4-game homestand, we'll probably end up 1-3 in that homestand. The Sixers come in Christmas Day, and we'll see. We'll see what kind of team the Sixers are. If they're the team that I'm expecting, they'll probably the Knicks will probably lose that game. And then we have Dallas, the revenge game. We go to Dallas. They get the revenge on us from losing in the Garden, so I'm putting that down as a loss. Then we finish the calendar year, December 29th and 31st with 2 wins. The Texas teams, San Antonio's, they got nothing, and then Houston is still in rebuild mode. So 9-6 there. So then that means we will finish 21-16. 21-16. Yes, 21-16 by the end of December, by the end of this calendar year. 5 games over 500. That's pretty nice. Before I get to January, shout out to the chat, man. Hit that thumbs up for me. Really appreciate that, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Let's see here. What's up, Adrian Reality? What up, George? Just got out of work. Knicks 45+ wins. Nice. I can see that. You'll see. I have the prediction coming up. CIA Mafia. Scoot Henderson would look so good next to Brunson and RJ. He certainly would. That guy would look good. Yeah, he's tremendous. All right, so January's tricky. I went around back and forth on January. Wasn't quite sure how things were going to end up. The first game in 2023 is against the Phoenix Suns at MSG. I just feel like the Knicks are finally going to break through and really get a nice win off of the Suns, especially with Brunson on this team now. And with iHeart being able to stretch the floor, hopefully he'll get some decent amount of floor time there. I can see Randall trying to get some revenge on Cam Johnson. This feels like a win. Could easily be a loss, but it feels like a win. Then San Antonio comes to the Garden. That's going to be a win for us. And then we go to Toronto. And I have that as a loss. We go to Milwaukee. It's a loss. Then Indiana, we win. Wizards. I'm giving this win to the Wizards here. The Knicks have a propensity sometimes to get jammed up. They start focusing on other teams too much, and they lose sight of the opponent that's right in front of them. And that could happen. They're going to drop losses here and there like that. I'm just putting that one as one of those type of losses. They could easily win it, but they can then lose to Indiana. You know what I mean? That's the rationale there. Then we have a nice 3-game winning streak with Detroit. They're going to get the revenge on the Raptors, finally break through and win that game when they play the Raptors at MSG, and then get the revenge on the Wizards at MSG for that win there. Then go down to Atlanta, probably drop that game, and then Toronto. We go back to Toronto. Hopefully, all the good stuff that we had just put together in beating Toronto, we can replicate that when we go up to Toronto and win that game. Again, that's a tricky one, but I believe that's possible. Drop a game to the Cavaliers back at MSG, then go up to Boston, and there I believe we'll probably drop that game. I believe the Boston Knicks series is going to end up 2-2 no matter what. Which game they win or lose is neither here nor there. I think they're going to split the series. Then we play the Nets at Barclays, and we will get that revenge for dropping that game to them earlier in the season. Win that one, and by then, who knows what will happen with Kyrie, and Ben Simmons, who knows what kind of drama we'll be formulating there. And remember, the trade deadline is February 9th this season. So it's going to start percolating, the heat, the intensity of the speculation, and that starts messing with players' heads. It starts messing with team chemistry. So hopefully it's beneficial to the Knicks and backfires with teams like the Nets. Then they end the January against the Lakers in MSG, and who knows what kind of team the Lakers are going to be at that point. Who knows if AD will be playing, LeBron will be playing, who's healthy, who's not. So I have the Knicks being able to pull that game out at MSG. Then we go into the home stretch. Here we go. February, March, and April. February. We finally play the Heat at MSG, putting that as a loss. Putting the game against the Clippers as a win for the Knicks. Only because by this point, February coming around, I think they'll be resting either Paul George or Kawhi. Maybe we can catch a break there and get that game from them. And we do play the Clippers well. We do play them tight. Then we have the Sixers at home here. We dropped that game. I'm giving a loss. Finally, the Knicks to Orlando. Magic is going to have nights where they just play great, but they're young and they're inconsistent. They just can't string good games together that many games in a row. But I can definitely see them winning a game or two from the Knicks. So that I'm giving that one to the Magic. Then we get a revenge on Philadelphia in Philadelphia. Then we got Utah at MSG, another win. Got the Nets back at MSG, another win. Then, because this is everything clicking with the Knicks. They're them buying in. However, let me backtrack a little bit. Remember I said the trade deadline was February 9th? So I also have a reason why, that game against the Sixers on the 5th and Orlando on the 7th, who knows what kind of, rumors will be swirling around and creating instability for the team. But then once the deadline ends, I can see this team clicking back in. And who knows, maybe we'll make a move that'll really help this team tremendously. Sorry, I'm ignoring the chat right now, just trying to get through this here. Then we got New Orleans and Boston wins. So that we finished February 6-5. Then we go to March, and I think we're going to end up March just one game over 500, 8-7. We got Brooklyn at MSG again. Then we go to Miami, drop that game at Miami, drop the game against Boston in Boston, beat Charlotte at home, beat the Sacramento. And then we go on a road trip, West Coast road trip. Gotta win that first game against the Kings. Have to win that one. We'll probably drop the back-to-back. We'll probably drop the 2 games in LA. Knicks seem to do that. Though last season, I think we did win the Clippers one. They lost the Lakers, one of the other. But it's very difficult for the Knicks to win both those games, especially when they're back-to-back, literally back-to-back. So I'm putting them down. I'm putting them both down as losses. If we win one of them, fantastic. Then we go up to Portland. I think we have a tired team. That West Coast trip is brutal. We lose that one, but then we come back home to MSG, and there's a nice 4 days in between rest. Replenish ourselves, win that, finally get a win on the Timberwolves, lose to Miami again, beat Orlando, beat Houston, then get a revenge on Miami at MSG, and finish March with a loss in Cleveland. But April, we finished 3-1, win over the Wizards, win over the Pacers. I'm going to give that loss to New Orleans because I think they might be in a big fight for the playoff position or play-in at the time, and they might be a little hungrier than we are, and we win the last game of the season for a final total of how many wins? How many wins are we talking about? How many wins did we show just now? Are you guys ready? Here we go. 47 wins. That is into the Knicks-Verse prediction for the 2022-23 New York Knicks. I believe the Knicks will go 47-35 this season, which, if you compare it to last season, would have been good enough for 6th seed. So the answer to the question is, can the Knicks be a playoff team? Yes, absolutely. And by playoff team, I mean you get a top 6 seed. Obviously, if you're in the play-in and you win, you're a playoff team. But this is clearly you can avoid the play-in, 47 wins, and that's if, run it down again, Julius accepts his role and his 3-point shot gets at least up to like league average, or even just below that, 35%. We can't have him down in the super low 30s, like 30% like he was last season. It's got to be up there. But think about it. IQ is going to have a tremendous breakout season. We got Brunson. RJ is going to level up. He's going to be in the all-star conversation. We got Fournier back, one of the top 5 3-point shooters in the game. Grimes, another season behind his belt. He comes in for year 2. Excellent defender. His 3-point shot is beautiful. He's started doing some great playmaking. He's going to inject he's going to inject a lot of winning in this team. Isaiah Hartenstein, those times when we desperately need some floor spacing. He's that nice piece to put in there. And then Mitch. Mitch is also going to have a big year for himself as well. This team This team feels to me like a 47-win team. That's what it feels like to me. Curious to hear you guys' thoughts. Definitely later on, you guys have any feelings, whatever, just drop it in the chat. I'd love to hear about that. Woo! All right, shout out to the chat again. Thank you guys for showing up, man. Hit that thumbs up button for me. I wonder... One of the things I wonder about is Cam, man. I guess Cam, he's definitely... he really needs to make a statement tonight. He does. He needs to make a statement. It has to be sharing the ball, finding open guys, breaking down defenses as well. But I love what he's been doing on the defensive end. Even though once or twice here he's been, caught out of position, but he can catch up to his guy easily. The way he fills passing lanes in, his anticipation and gets steals, awesome, fantastic. But he needs to get it together on the offensive end, same way Obi had to. The only way Obi can be relevant is if he makes his three-point shot, because we know he can dunk, we know he can finish around the hoop as good as anybody in the NBA right now. It's fantastic, but he needs to hit that three-pointer, and we saw he finally broke out the last game, 4 of 7. We need something like that from Cam today. It makes the team better when you've got a roster up and down of hungry guys, talented guys who can all be put out there and deliver on the floor. It rises the level. It increases the level of talent, the output, and everybody else. It puts pressure. If Cam is balling, it puts pressure on RJ. If Cam is balling, it puts pressure on Obi. And if Obi's balling, it puts pressure on Randall. Hopefully that type of pressure doesn't make Randall snap like it did last season, but hopefully he'll rise to the challenge. IQ, balling out the way I feel. I feel IQ is going to be a 40% three-point shooter this season. It's not going to put pressure per se on Brunson because he's pretty safe, but it's going to solidify that point guard position. And who knows, sometimes we might even see the two guys on the court together. We might even see Brunson, if it's against a smaller unit, Brunson, IQ, and D-Rose on the court together. We might see D-Rose and Brunson finish out games together. It's going to be an exciting season. There's so many options. The roster is much deeper than it was last season. And it all comes down to Thibs. It all comes down to Thibs if he's willing to embrace his roster. And let's just go back to this. Again, if you tuned in late, this was the first slide. This was a slide from the trade day, the trade deadline day in February 10th, last season. Those 5 items that were up there. The only one that was done at trade deadline was hand RJ the keys. But in the offseason, all of these have been addressed. Now it's time to see if the final bullet point will be let youth lead. In my opinion, Brunson is part of that youth. He's 26, but he's young. He's still young. So to me, he's part of that youth. It's just the way Mitch is part of that youth. Randall is a little bit older. He's not necessarily part of that youth. Either is Fournier, and Rose, obviously, but everybody else fits in with that. So it's almost like it kind of has to, but it becomes down to minutes allocation. Like we were saying earlier, if Randall's averaging 35 minutes a game, Brunson's at 34, and Fournier's at 32, that's way too many. Then the youth movement is going to get suffocated. So let's hope that he doesn't do that. Let's hope that he embraces the youth, because that is the key. That is the key for us winning. Has the game started yet? Let's see here. Not yet. Woo! Jamming all that in during a live stream can get a little exhausting. Man. Let's see here. Oh, man. Woo! All right, guys. Well, I think how the Lakers have 6 preseason GMs versus our little 4. Yeah. What's up, Be Civilized? Good to see you, brother. Who do we have? Master Scheme 1. We survey 100 people. What's up, man? Salute to you. All right. Oh, one other thing to announce. The Knicks-Verse merchandise store is up and running. You guys should go check it out. Here is, I'll put the link in the chat here. Let's see here. You can see, yeah, we got some dad hats. We got a nice, good assortment of a good assortment of items. There it is. You can see here we got some dad hats, some hoodies, t-shirts. We still have the snapback here. Got some sweatshirts, and then a distressed dad hat, which I can't wait to get mine and order that. Let's see what else we got. And we got a beanie. That's right. We finally got a beanie. So check it out. Go there, you guys. There is... I'll post a discount code. There is a discount code. I think you get like $5 off or something on your first order. So hopefully you guys will jump in there, get some merch. All right. Well, I've been talking nonstop for 46 minutes. Gonna get ready to watch the game. Excited. I really hope Cam comes through and Obi can continue what he did in game 2. RJ, I'm loving what I'm seeing from RJ. Man, his 3-point shot, it looks identical every time he shoots it. And sometimes he's shooting it, under duress and just switching it. So that's a great, hopeful sign. I mean, can you imagine we end up with a team where IQ, RJ, Fournier, Grimes all end up 40% and up at the 3-point line. And then guys like Brunson, 38%, 40%. I mean, he just doesn't shoot it as often. But I think if his output increases, his volume increases, it'll probably drop a little bit. But he's about almost a 40% 3-point shooter as well. Definitely want to see that. That's be outstanding. Obi. I mean, Obi shoots 37%, 38% with his moves. He would be a tremendous asset. And then maybe if Obi keeps connecting on his 3-point shot, we might actually see finally some small ball. Because that's the key. You got to outscore if you can't protect the rim as intensely as you can with a guy like Mitch Robinson out there, then you have to make up for that in another way, and that is floor spacing. More offense, a higher octane offense. So let's hope we see some of that. All right. You know what? I got to see this one more time. There it is. 47 and 35. Let's go. Let's go, Knicks. I hope this happens. It'd be wonderful. Make up for last season. I'm predicting a 10-game bump over the team last season, but that team was an underachiever. So this is if the team achieves what it should achieve. It should be 47 and 35. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this. Again, my name is George. Please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button for me, and go to the merch store. Check it out. There's some great stuff there. And then what else was I going to do? What else? I had something else to say. Can't find it right now. But let's see here. Any last minute news? Nothing new to report. Starters are Jalen Brunson, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitch. So this is probably going to be the starting unit for the season. That's who's starting tonight. There's no Grimes in this game, is what I heard. Now that may have been changed. No, it doesn't seem like it. Grimes will be sitting out. So, which is good. Which is good only in the respect that it gives Cam an open lane. He'll probably get those extra minutes. So let's hope we see that. Also, I've been loving what I'm seeing from Deuce as well. Look, all the young guys are playing better. And guys like RJ are going to be better. And we got like a 10 times better point guard situation than we had last season with Brunson. And we've added a stretch 5 for the second unit. There's no way this team isn't at least a 500 team. That's my bare minimum, 41-41. But I think they are going to be a plus 500 team. 47-35. All right. Thank you for watching this. My name is George. Please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button for me. And Drop your comments if you think of stuff later on. And I will be doing a post-game recap, like always. I'm going to try to do a post-game recap for all 82 games and all the preseason games. All right, well, I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.